So,
Yeah.
today,
What are we doing?
it's me, Chris, and Alfie, and we're going to be talking about Doctor Who.
Yeah, and Laika will join us later on.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get into
A
it.
guest star.
She actually
Yes.
made it to an ATeam video. For
Yeah,
once.
all Brits and one American talking about Doctor Who. But all lifelong fans, so it makes sense.
Let's do it.
All right, we're on. Hey guys, Alf Benny here. Thanks for coming. I got Laika today, the lovely Laika. Civil rights leaders.
So that happened, and there was much rejoicing and happiness.
I'm in the mood to chat, continue drinking, and doing other degenerate behavior.
Let me tell you what I've done to handle the stalker problem. I have liberally, and I liberally use the block button.
I'm pitiful!
Why you guys watching a canceled show? It's not canceled.
It's not cancelled, Red Guy.
I wonder. That's a thing to look up. I'm gonna look that up right now. What the ratings are for the first two episodes.
I think it's
Give me a
quite
second.
good, but I mean, like, these are
Tell you what, it's a lot better than I was expecting it to be. I thought it was gonna be super regressive.
The thing is, the thing with it is it is a kids show. It's for kids, and
Agree, yeah.
and as a result of that, the ratings are not bad because
That's gonna reflect that.
there's plenty of little girl would-be feminists being brought up right now.
It says Doctor Who season 11 debut ratings. Sure, ratings begin. Yeah, rating begins. But you can't really go by the debut because people are gonna watch that to see what it's like. You gotta. I think
Yeah,
the
I mean,
second
I
second
watched that.
episode are probably more of an indication because those will be the people who saw the first episode and said, "Oh, let me check out the second one."
In all honesty, I want to see how it's doing in like 3 or 4 episodes time.
Yeah, by the middle, I would say.
Because there is, even at this point, although I did enjoy the second episode more, there is a distinct possibility that it's not going to get any better. But at least that won't be because of hair, which it was like my main fear.
Oh yeah, see, Sunday cable ratings, Doctor Who dips, The Walking Dead hit series low, so both of those shows are suffering by the second
Don't
episode
even
already.
talk to me about The Walking Dead. That
Yeah,
show is dead like a long time ago.
All right,
But
let's keep
in the
positive
end-
on the show at the moment.
Yeah,
Well,
but no, I was just reading the headline. Yeah, I don't really care about that, but I'm just saying in general, it looks like the second episode was a huge dip already in the ratings for Doctor Who.
Oh, for Doctor Who, was it?
Yeah, it's saying right here, yeah, Doctor Who dips. It says.
I'm not surprised because I found the first episode to be, well, I think I've said this to you before, too long.
Mhm.
Not enough.
I
happened.
agree with that. It was
It-
unnecessarily
It
long.
was too. There was. I don't understand why it was like an hour and 5 minutes long, whereas
Yeah.
they're normally 45 minutes long, like the
Mhm.
last episode was. And there was clearly only 45 minutes worth of content. So how
Yeah.
and why was it over an hour long?
I agree with you. Even if they did like an extra long episode, but maybe didn't stick to the same story, like add an intro, like a 30-minute intro that was like a different thing, that would have made more sense. But it was like, yeah, it really felt like they did a 45-minute episode and stretched it with filler.
Yeah,
to make
they
it-
really tried to drag out the ending and drag out the middle bit. And
yeah, it was dragged out a bit.
And drag out the relationships with everybody.
And
Yeah.
don't even get me started on the retarded fucking story about the black kid that can't ride a bike but can somehow ambulate perfectly fucking ably round the rest of the world. And he can't climb ladders either. But apart
Yeah.
from that, he's fine. Go fuck yourself. That ain't a thing.
Yeah, that's true. That doesn't make sense. It's very issues with continuity on that.
Well, like what it smacked to me quite strongly of was just this sort of it was trying to be politically correct. So not only do we have a black boy in there, but he's also a disabled black
Yeah, he's
boy,
also disabled. And
even though
then
he
we have,
wasn't disabled at all.
then we have an Asian woman, and the older
Yeah.
guy seems kind of gay too, even though he was married to the guy's grandma.
Yeah,
and
but
he does
you
seem pretty
see-
gay.
You see, he does tick a couple of boxes though, because he's like an old older white man.
Yeah.
So that's not a demographic that's represented very often, is it? So let's bang one of them in too.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a lot to criticize about it.
Yeah, I think it is funny that the double entendre they're using, but like trying to hide that they're being regressive, like showing, it's about time. It's like it's about time there's a female doctor. I mean,
I'm not sure that they are trying to hide it.
No,
I think they think
they're
just clever about it,
being witty, and clever, because Doctor Who is about time travel, so it goes with that too. But
I don't know about you two, but I can't say that the actual show itself is being like that though. But
the actual show isn't in your face about it, and I enjoyed it, and in the end, I do enjoy the show. I enjoyed the first episode. I do agree it was a bit long, and I didn't like the villain too much. It was just a bad design, that with the teeth on his face and stuff. It just looked ugly, and it just wasn't.
Now you reminded me the other thing about that first episode. It was so fucking cheap.
Yeah, it was
to look at. I mean, I know Doctor Who's kind of
it's always been kind of cheap, in the special effects. But you're right. The first episode was extra cheap, and you didn't see that as much in the second episode. Like the second episode seemed well done.
The second episode was more designed around being cheap, so you didn't notice it as much.
Yeah, it made sense to it.
It wasn't trying to be something it wasn't.
And I very much got a Hitchhiker's Guide feel out of the second episode, the story-wise. Yeah, especially with the beginning where they're like floating in space, and then you see the ships come in.
You're right. That was a Hitchhiker's Guide thing. Yeah. You're right.
And
that was.
They even made a reference where the old guy said, "Don't panic." When he first woke up the black kid, and then that scene where they were all talking to the grandmaster of the contest or whatever, that felt very Hitchhiker's Guide to me too.
Yeah, like I said, I think Douglas Adams wrote Doctor Who.
He used to be
years, so I do feel that was something of an homage to him for some reason, but even that's a bit of a weird homage to somebody. I don't know why. I don't know why they slam that in there, but whatever.
Yeah. But I just think probably the guy who wrote that episode is a huge fan of both, and knows that and was possibly like, he probably loved the Douglas Adams Doctor Who episode, so he wanted to put a little homage in there and write something in that vein.
Yeah, I will say if those are the comparisons you want to be making, though, there just isn't one.
No, it's not fully. I'm just saying it was reminiscent of.
No, I mean him. I wouldn't have been so eager to draw those comparisons if I was the writer of that. It just wasn't. It was nowhere near as good. It was very sort of formulaic and by the book and politically correct. And Douglas Adams was none of those things.
No, Doctor Who was none of those things in those days.
No, not really. But like I say, what I'm most relieved about with it is that it's not them having a female actor to play the Doctor doesn't seem to really have ruined it at all. It doesn't. Well, it's not really changed the dynamic of the show. I don't think.
I think it's actually been a great change, to be honest with you. I think it's actually a good idea due to the fact that the last two Doctors just kind of annoyed me, and I didn't really see anyone who could do it. And I think she's doing a really good job as the Doctor.
I don't mind.
I kind of agree with that, because it kind of got to the stage where it's like, what else can they do with this, really? I mean, it was almost at the point where they pretty much should have finished doing it or stopped for a while or whatever, and they have found something new.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know if you guys remember, but last year people were like, I don't know if there was a petition or people were just talking about it online that they wanted Emma Watson. Is that her name?
From Harry Potter.
Yeah. They wanted her to be the new Doctor, and I was like,
ew.
So I would talk against it, and people would come at me and be like, "Oh, you have a problem with a woman being Doctor Who?" And I'm like, "No, I just don't think she's very Doctor Who. Like, I think she's the wrong choice. If you pick a woman, it would be there's way better women."
She's a horrific human being. So
no. Who would have been good? Who I would have really liked that I feel has a Doctor Who feel or would have been good at it is Tilda Swinton. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I feel like she would be. She was in Doctor Strange. She played the Ancient One with a shaved head. She was in Constantine.
Yes, I'm not sure.
I'm just googling it now. It's easier.
Yeah, she's a Londoner.
Oh, was she in Game of Thrones as well?
I'm not sure, but she's a great actress and she can play any kind of character. And
she's really tall. Is she really tall?
Yeah, she's really tall, thin, kind of androgynous, but
she was in the Star Wars movies as well, right? Is that the same person? It might not be the same person. I might be.
Nah,
I might be crossing my.
There
my
is
top
another
five.
actress that kind of looks like her that I could see.
Yeah, I think
confusing it for her.
maybe I'm getting confused.
But yeah, she's a good actress, and I think she could play like weird, outlandish characters. So I think she'd be good as a doctor. But she would have been a good pick. But this new chick, Jodie Whittaker, I think she's pretty good. I dig it. I like her personality.
I really like the Yorkshire accents as well because to me anyway, they don't stand out at all because I'm from that area, so it's pretty cool.
But in the first episode, I wasn't so sure. By the end of the first episode, I was like, you know what? She's not so bad. Let me give her a chance. And by the end of the second episode, I was like, all right, I do like her as the doctor. She does a good job.
I will say though that, and I'm not sure that I could really put the blame on her for this because the other characters, the other actors were doing the same as well. So it's probably a direction problem or a production problem. I do feel that they were all kind of made to overact it a little bit, and that I don't know. But like I said, Doctor Who isn't really aimed at a 40-year-old man. It really isn't. It is aimed at children, and that probably has something to do with that.
And it is a show that has brought out new actors. You know, it's constantly been like new people. Not always, you know, sometimes it's already established actors, but most of the time for like partners and stuff like that, they'll bring in new people to try to bring them, you know, into the limelight.
Someone who's got talent and whatnot.
Yeah, so you are going to get bad acting. I mean, there's been a plethora of hammy acting in fucking Doctor Who throughout the history of Doctor Who.
It is kind of part of its charm, really. But
I agree. That's why we were talking about the bad, like, special effects and stuff like that. I feel like that's part of the Doctor Who charm. Yeah.
But with that said, I do like her. I think she's good. I was really not expecting that either. I wasn't expecting to be saying those words, but I do think she's good and she can pull it off. So that's a definite bonus.
I do feel like, especially because of their marketing campaign, that they're going to ostracize a lot of people who would otherwise give it a chance and say it's good, you know, and say like, oh, I like this show, you know.
Well, I mean, to be honest, one of those people would be me if I paid any attention whatsoever to marketing, which thankfully I don't. I just happen to have seen billboards when I've been driving around and going to work and stuff. But apart from that, I've not seen anything, and I'm quite glad I haven't because I think whoever's in charge of marketing at the BBC now is far too far along the SJW spectrum for somebody like me.
I think we've seen that BBC has been in that for a long time. Has been into the regressive stuff for a while.
Oh yeah, Jay's put a picture in the chat. I'm sure you'll edit it into the video.
It's about time.
Yeah, it's awful. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, you don't need that. I feel personally, I don't care if you have like a political stance or whatever in your story, but I feel that subtlety works way better than in your face.
Think how much better that advertisement would be if you just got rid of "It's About Time."
Yeah, you don't need it.
Literally, just get rid of that. Just have her face, have BBC Doctor Who available on iPlayer. Boom, done.
Done. Yeah.
And that would be a much better standout advertisement for the program. I think.
You could have even just put her name in there instead, like Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker. You know, that's it. You didn't. Shows speak for themselves. When you do shit like this, you're ostracizing people because people don't like to be told what to do. You just leave it subtle, and the show will speak for itself. You know, you don't need to push it in people's faces.
Well, that's my sort of my take on it is that I'm just going to watch the show and I'm going to try and ignore everything external that they're trying to push the show with because they obviously are trying to push an agenda. But I don't want that to spoil the show if it is actually good. Because I'm a very long... I mean, ask my parents. I've been a Doctor Who fan since forever. So I don't want to...
Yeah, me too. I grew up watching Tim Baker and Sean Pertwee fucking...
Tom Baker.
Oh, Tom Baker.
John Pertwee.
Yeah, I mixed them up. But yeah, I grew up with those two era of Doctor Who on PBS when I was a kid. So, and I loved it. And I've been a Doctor Who fan since I was a kid, so you know I was obviously going to give this a chance. Nothing they did would have ostracized me from giving it a chance.
See, for me, it's actually returned me to the series because I gave up on it two Doctors ago. I watched the last guy. I can't think of his name right now. Peter, isn't it Peter?
Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, I watched the first episode. I was like, nope, fucking can't be bothered.
Really.
Honestly, I really liked him.
Honestly, I liked him too, and it started slow, and I agree with Jay on that. If I had not given it more of a chance and I continued past his first season, I wouldn't have liked it either, and I would have gone back and said, I don't like it. Because the first season with him kind of took a while for him to
He sort of reminded me a little bit of Tom Baker, to be honest.
I agree with you, and I do like older doctors. I have an affinity for the older ones.
Tom Baker is my favorite. He's the doctor who, when I first started watching TV, I've got my vaguest sort of first memories of Doctor Who are of Tom Baker. Yeah, because that's who was on when I was first became cognizant of the world in the sort of early 70s, late 80s.
Yeah, me too. That was
the early 80s, late 70s, rather.
But I like John Pertwee a lot too. Those are like my two favorite eras. They were right back to back, so that was like
I mean, and John Pertwee had a very much an uphill struggle because there were massive budget cuts at the BBC.
Oh yeah,
and Doctor Who was pretty much up for the axe, but that's why all of the early John Pertwee ones are all on Earth. That's why the Doctor was trapped on Earth, because they couldn't afford the special effects to go into space.
Yeah, but he did such a good job. you can't deny that.
He did, and then there was some great additions to the lore kind of thing, like Bessie the car and stuff like that.
Yeah,
K9.
K9 was that Tom Baker one? It was.
I think it went from Tom Baker to John Pertwee. I think it continued on.
No, it went the other way around. It was John Pertwee was number 3. Tom Baker was number 4.
Yeah, you're right.
But I'm pretty sure K9 was added in Tom Baker. Yeah, K9 was in Tom Baker and Peter Davison's Doctor Who.
Yeah, with what was her name? Sarah. His Tom Baker's partner.
She died, didn't she?
They gave her own show. They gave her own show. Sarah Jane,
Well, no, Sarah Jane was in the 3rd Doctor and the 4th Doctor. John Pertwee, she started.
With him, and then went on to Tom Baker. Yeah.
But she got her own series, her own kids series in the end, didn't she?
Yeah, the Sarah Jane Adventures or something. I watched a few of those, but they were a little too kiddie for me.
They were pretty shit, but they were for kids. They really were for kids.
The whole show.
So the first episode had a huge ratings boost. I think it was record Doctor Who ratings prove Jodie Whittaker brings big audiences, so it was huge. But I was saying earlier, you can't really judge it by the first episode, because you're going to have those people who are going to give it a shot and watch the first episode to see, and you really have to judge it later on. But it's dipped for the second episode, which makes sense. You're going to have people drop off, so I guess we'd have to keep going on and see what's how the ratings go. Maybe more people will jump back in. Who knows?
I am, although I did think the second episode was a much stronger showing than the first one personally. I am of the opinion that if people are going to keep watching it, it is going to have to up its game, because I didn't think that the second episode was good or very good. I just thought it was definitely a lot. It should have been the first episode. That should have been the first episode.
I agree. Or maybe if it was going to be an extra long episode like they did it, they could have split it in half, and halfway through they could have gone to that other planet that they do in the second episode. I think, like you said, that the first episode was definitely like one story that was stretched out way too long. They could have done something else and made it worth the hour something. Yeah, they could have made it worth the hour something by adding more to it, but it seems like they just stretched it out, and with that, it made it boring at parts.
Yeah, I think that was, and it was just boring, and you thought, just like get on with it.
Yeah. The second episode with the regular length runtime was much better for pacing.
But now they've got to sort of, I think, pick up their socks a bit and actually make a genuinely good episode, which. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for the next one, but I'm not convinced they're on the right track by going, into fucking medieval Earth or wherever the fuck they're going.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it might be good. I might be
judging
it.
Yeah, if it's written well and produced well, then it'll be enjoyable. That's why I say, like, let the show speak for itself. It's shitty that they're trying to push some shit on people.
I think the what might drag down an episode like that are the companions that she's got. I don't particularly necessarily think they'll be, especially that group is going to be particularly useful. But we'll see. Could be wrong.
Laika didn't like it. She said she's disappointed that we thought it was all right.
Maybe I'm more forgiving of the series than somebody as young as Laika of Laika's age.
That's true.
Which is possible.
It's also she's definitely not been a fan as long as we have. You know, like we were fans probably before she was born.
There she is.
Yeah.
No, you didn't like it. You didn't approve of it, Laika. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah. I thought that if it was like its own thing, it would have been all right. And I thought the writing was okay, but the dialogue of the Doctor specifically, I thought that was lower quality than everyone else's dialogue in the show.
Really, I didn't catch that.
I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean. But I was just saying before you came in, I think as somebody of my age group is probably a bit more forgiving of the show than maybe you might be. Because I've been watching it since I was like 2.
Yeah, that's what I was saying when you came in. Me and Chris, being older, we've probably been fans of Doctor Who before you were born. So
we remember it when it was really shit.
Yeah, and we started on like Tom Baker and John Pertwee era. So
the only Doctor Who series I haven't watched is the ones with the leather jacket Doctor.
With Eccleston.
Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah.
He was quite good.
I liked Eccleston.
To be honest, I didn't like him too much. I
wasn't a massive fan, but he was all right.
I liked the writing of that era, but I didn't like him as a Doctor. I didn't feel very much Doctor Who from him.
If you recall, though, that actor was mainly used as a sort of vehicle to reboot the series, the whole series, wasn't it?
That's why he only had one season. Yeah, he just had the one season, and that's it.
Yeah,
dipped out right after that.
I think David Tennant would be like everyone's favorite from the recent ones, but I think Matt Smith's one was the best written as a Doctor.
I agree. No, Matt Smith would be my favorite, to be honest.
I liked Matt Smith. A lot of people didn't, and I didn't like him at first because he was so young. I like older doctors. Like I like the doctors.
I like mine older.
Yeah, I like them when they're in their 50s, 60s. You know, white hair.
But first, Alf likes older men.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I got excited for Capaldi, because he was older and he was a very good actor, and I thought that's good, like this amazing choice. And then the writing was so terrible.
Yeah, the writing. I was talking about that earlier, how the writing was kind of lacking on the first season with him, but I feel like it picked up better on the later seasons.
I think Capaldi actually. I think he himself made those series of Doctor because the writing really wasn't.
Yeah, it was more just his acting that brought it out. Yeah, they made it.
I didn't hate it that much though. I have to say I quite enjoyed it.
But I was saying I was iffy on Matt Stone at first because he was so young. But then I was sold on the writing, and then I grew to like him, and I was like, oh, he's not bad as the Doctor. I like him.
I think if they were going to make a diversity hire, like they were getting told that they had to be more diverse, I think if they pick Richard Iodawale.
He'd be great.
Richard Iodawale from the IT Club.
Yes, he would be amazing.
I think he'd be great on the show, even if he wasn't the Doctor.
Yeah,
I have no idea who that is.
He's the guy from the IT crowd.
The black guy.
Yeah.
Oh right.
Black guy, yeah.
Well, the thing is, I don't think having any kind of man in there would have been diverse enough, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true.
For them, not for me. I don't care.
To be honest, I don't mind.
Going to pick women, there are better women as well.
I was saying earlier, I think Tilda Swinton would have been great, but she's way too
everyone
big.
said Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, I think she'd be like fantastic to be the Doctor, but I think she's way too, A-list for that. So.
Yeah, they don't get.
I don't know. I think I'm quite happy with their choice of actor.
Yeah, I don't mind her. I like Jodie Whittaker. I think
I'm willing to sort of give her the chance to settle into the role somewhat, but
you always have to realize the actors who come in to play the Doctor don't really grow into their role until like the second seasons. If you watch David Tennant,
you say that, but then David Tennant did and Matt Smith did.
No, not right away. I think it took the second season for them to fully solidify the personality of their Doctor.
Yeah, I agree with Alf. To be honest, I think there is always a sort of breaking in period.
Yeah.
Even with the classic shows, that was the case as well. I mean, it was.
Yeah, the first seasons were always kind of like the personality wasn't fully there, and then you'll see after the second season they'll really grow into the character, and it has their set personality. But we'll
But-
see. It's all about writing and how they produce it.
And that's
have to
what
see.
worries me, because the BBC's SJW committee is fully in charge of the writing.
It hasn't been so in
Yeah.
your face in the first 2 episodes, but
No,
I
it hasn't.
swear there will be an episode focused on that soon. Like we're gonna see it.
I'm really, really concerned that this upcoming episode, with it being set in like oldie days England,
Oh,
is
yeah.
going to be a big sort of prejudice against women episode. I'm
Oh,
really
Yeah,
worried
yeah,
about
I
that.
can see that. That makes sense.
They're
Yeah,
gonna-
I can see that.
There'll be at least 2 episodes, I think, that are just
Yeah,
incredibly
definitely.
cringy SJW ones. Like with the
Yeah,
Peter
they're-
Capaldi episodes.
We'll just have to ignore
Not every
those
episode is bad
episodes.
scripted. You
So
think they
far-
might have actually like learned a lesson from the Peter Capaldi SJW thing?
Mhm.
No, but the thing is that they're not. As far as they're concerned, the BBC. I mean, there's no lesson to have been learned. Is there? There's
Well, they
the-
lost ratings last season.
this is the agenda that they want to push.
Yeah, it's kind of like Marvel. Even with their drop of sales, they
Yes.
still keep going on that. You know, they still keep harping on it, and then they won't go back and try to go back to what good writing was, and what people liked. They just keep going on down that SJW path.
I think that's capable of learning. I think that the ratings will speak for themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the first
problem is with the BBC. It's not all about the ratings, is it? They'll produce it. Ratings be damned in a lot of cases.
They need money. They do need money. Like it
I
might
agree.
be a
Doctor
way
Who
to
is one of the money makers, but I mean, America, which is probably the sort of richest consumer of Doctor Who specifically, is all on board with this SJW shit at the moment.
But
So
I think the BBC might be forced to change this time around because it's got to compete with Netflix and Amazon Prime.
yeah,
It's a different world
I
now.
will
It's like
see.
subscription.
no,
based.
I agree. There's the possibility is there, but I don't think personally. I don't think that we're going to see that certainly in this season of Doctor Who. Not
Nah,
No,
I don't think there's going to be enough of a drop for that. I think they'll if it does drop a lot, they'll be riding the edge, and we'll be
It's
able to
not just
continue.
drops. Some places abroad, even aren't taking up Doctor Who. The ability to like play it abroad.
It was huge
would
here for a
make them,
while,
like,
and I think the Peter Capaldi era kind of dropped it. Like after Matt Stone, it seemed to kind of drop here, but Doctor Who was huge for a while here. Yeah. But I was talking earlier, saying that we were looking at articles, and I was saying that I was seeing that the premiere was huge, but that's always going to be huge, right? And there was a huge,
Yeah, they'll always hype.
huge ratings. But the second episode dipped a lot, so we'll see if it continues to dip. But that's just basically, I would give it at least till the mid-season to see, how the ratings are going.
And what do you think about the female Doctor? Do you think she has any flaws so far?
I think she's doing really well, actually, as an actor.
Yeah,
and doing the
I
role.
don't dislike her, but like I was saying, she still has to grow some. Like I'd have to see. Like
I would
although-
say that my criticism would be that she does seem to be overacting it a bit, but that she
Yeah.
might settle into that. I
I
hope.
love
what
why I
I'm
say
saying with, like,
settling. Oh, go ahead.
No flaws. You always have like a Doctor who's like obnoxious or rude.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they have like
Oh,
a
I see
trait
what
that's
you're
bad about
saying.
them, but you come to love them for it. But this new Doctor has like no.
Oh, I don't know.
attitude problem.
She seems to be a bit. She seems to be a bit sort of. I don't want to use the word ditzy because that seems too gendered, but she does seem quite ditzy and sort of weird and not that polite, really.
But
So-
as you see that this is part of the growth of her character, because you see
Yeah,
after the regeneration, she had a lack of understanding of things and forgot a lot of things. So she's still coming into remembering all these things and who she is.
which is a great plot device for
Yeah.
breaking an actor into
Yeah,
a
yeah.
role.
Which is how Doctor Who's always worked, right? That's how they worked in the regeneration retroactively and say, oh yeah, the Doctor regenerates into new actors. This is what it is, and it worked retroactively. So it's kind of a way to explain these things. It works
Okay.
within the Doctor Who universe. But I think
Don't
I'd give her
normally do
time
that
to
from the
to
beginning.
I'd give her time to get into her role and see how
I'll
she
give her a
does that.
chance. I do think
Yeah.
she's a bit flat.
Yeah, I could see that, but like I
Yeah,
said, that's part
I
of
don't know how much of that's her and how much of that is the way she's being directed, though, because the other actors also seem a bit flat, and I can't believe they've got a bunch of actors who all have the same sort of flat flaw.
Yeah,
if
I
you
agree with
like.
that.
Yeah.
So far, the Indian chick has done nothing for the show. Like to me, like I haven't gotten anything from her.
The Indian
They've been-
chick is the only girl I can understand, like the only person on board the ship, because everyone's accent is so thick.
Yeah.
I was just, as I was saying before you came in, that the accent is great for me because I live around this accent. It's like it's
Okay.
I just don't notice it. I understand them fine.
I love how the Brits in this video are main concern is the fact of the accents. I love
Yeah,
this.
I haven't mentioned it once.
That's weird, actually. Yeah.
So you could understand them as an American. There wasn't any accent.
Yeah,
issues
I
with it.
understand them fine.
Yeah,
You're
The
not hard
old
to
guys.
get around it.
Al's used to
Yeah,
me
that's-
though,
I
isn't
do-
he? So,
Yeah, I do talk to a lot of British people from different areas, so I'm used to the different accents now. But the old guy kind of reminds me of Tommy Robinson. I don't,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know why.
I
He's got
see
the
that.
haircut, right? Yeah, he looks like an old Tommy Robinson. He's got the haircut. He's kind of got that, like that street accent.
I like that guy as an actor. He's a really good actor.
Yeah. I like him in the show too.
Yeah.
But I was saying
I
they're
don't
not.
like the back
It
guy.
seems like they're kind of putting the Indian chick in the background, like she's not really done much, and then they got the black kid and the older guy are kind of, they're focusing on them more. So I really can't really base an opinion on the Indian chick because she hasn't really done much. And maybe if they give her an episode to focus on her son, then we can see.
yeah, I have to say, Pat, from my point of view, I think they should have kept I think they should have had the black kid and the Indian chick, but I personally don't think that the older white guy adds anything personally. But we'll see. But
I think he's got a charm to him.
yeah, sure. If he was reading a fucking bedtime story, maybe.
Yeah.
In Doctor Who, I'm not so sure.
But yeah, what you were talking earlier before we were recording about the inconsistencies on the black kids' balance issues.
Yeah, this Braxia doesn't work like that, and it's so ridiculous. Did you notice when he was doing the ladder, and she
Yeah.
gave him like a big pep talk,
Mm-hmm.
but then they didn't show the part where he got up the ladder, like overcome it.
Yeah, it was kind of weird,
It was
and
just, like,
especially because
put
that episode
completely
was like extra long too. They had time to do it. Like they focused on the
Yeah.
wrong things, I guess.
But, like there was a few cuts where it didn't have continuation. And you
It
just
really
supposed to
bothered me when he
assume
kept
something had happened.
trying. It really bothered me when he kept trying to ride the bike and he kept falling off it. But it's like, why? Just put your leg. Just put your leg down, dick. Like
That entire thing, it's like this is not a real disability. You're making it up.
Yeah.
Braxia is a real thing.
No,
but
it's a real
more
thing.
Like,
Oh, no, it
I'm
is,
gonna
but not-
snap my leg. I'm gonna
not-
stub
not
my
for-
toe more often than an
Not
average
from where
person.
that he fucking
No,
displayed
they made it like
wasn't.
full blown retard.
Yeah. It's like,
Didn't
wouldn't-
manage to do anything.
look,
Yeah,
I
but
can tell
in,
you right
in
now.
every other way was completely capable. It's like, I mean, come on, you can
Yeah.
run and walk and everything fine, but you can't ride a bike.
Yeah, but even if he
don't
couldn't ride
believe
a bike and he kept trying, why wouldn't he just put his foot down to not fall on his head every time? Like,
Yeah.
He can't climb ladders apart from the fact that every time he's presented with a ladder, he looks all worried about it, then goes up or down the ladder absolutely fucking fine.
Yeah, just every time.
yeah, it makes no sense. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really inconsistent with that. And it's like, if you were going to go with that angle, they should have studied it very well and understand what are the.
Maybe they'll explain it later on. And he's got a brain parasite, and it's not just.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Doctor Who does have a tendency to do that. Maybe they'll take criticisms of people who actually have that disability and telling them, like, hey, that's not how it works. And then they'll fix it later. Who knows?
Yeah. I think that'll happen.
But
But that is not how dyspraxia works.
No, it isn't. But with that said, I'm willing to forgive it these shades of retardness that it's got on it, and I hope that they actually make something of it. Because the thing I was most worried about was that they would make it a fucking SJW fest having a female doctor, and it appears that up to now that hasn't happened.
yeah, I came in thinking I was going to dislike it because I thought it was going to be like super in your face SJW. And then I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, this isn't that bad, actually. You know, and then now with the second episode, I like the second episode more. I agree with Kris that the first episode was too long and the pacing was off because of that.
Even though I didn't like the first episode, it had enough about it to make me watch the second one, put it that way.
Yeah, I thought the villain in the first episode was a great idea that was executed horribly. You know,
Just
like
that I was going in thinking it was good because you guys told me it was good.
yeah, I
So I was
enjoyed
like,
it.
oh, I'll go and
It
check
wasn't
it
bad.
out. And I was like, no.
The first episode was no, I didn't enjoy it at all.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I agree with the shortcomings Kris is talking about. It wasn't enough to make me not enjoy it, but I do agree that it was a bit long. And
that
if
was
we're gonna
the,
make
the
it long,
second one I liked, but I didn't think it was brilliant or anything like that. But I didn't hate it. Put it that way.
I thought it was fun.
think it
I
was
thought the
better
second
than
one was
first
fun.
one.
Yeah, it was
Definitely.
better,
But
but I found it
I
fun.
think
That it was an enjoy. I
The
watched it and
story
had
wasn't
fun.
gripping me because of all the issues.
And I had fun watching. I was mentioning earlier, like that I felt I got a very big like Hitchhiker's Guide like feel from the beginning of the second episode, like them floating in space and getting picked up on the ships. And then the old guy even said, "Don't panic" to the black kid, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I think this is a shout out to Hitchhiker's Guide and Douglas Adams.
Oh yeah.
But I enjoyed the second episode. I thought it was fun. I mean, it wasn't perfect, of course, but you know, it was enjoyable to me.
Yeah, we do have to like bear in mind that this is still like a whole new cast and everything, and it will be finding its feet for at least half of the first season.
Yeah,
if not the full first season.
And I'd like to repeat what Kris said, that Doctor Who is a kids show.
We're critiquing it as adults, but yeah, you do have to keep in mind that it is for kids, really.
Yeah.
Is it though? I was thinking because the other Doctor Who show, Sarah Jessica, whatever it's called.
What?
Do you know
The
what
Sarah
I'm talking
Jane,
about? It's
the
on
Sarah Jane Chronicles.
Sarah Jane Adventures.
That's even for younger kids.
No. But the Sarah Jane Chronicles was specifically to be shown on children's TV. Doctor Who has always been designed for children to watch with their parents.
Yeah, it's a family show.
Make a kids version. Why would they have a kids version?
Because that's specifically just
No. It's a Al's right. It's a family show. It's designed for the entire family to enjoy together. But ultimately, it's for
adults to enjoy as well.
I think that it used to ask like interesting questions as a TV show. Like it would ponder like interesting concepts, like virtual reality.
But you have to you also have to take in consideration the reason Doctor Who was created was as an educational show for children. It was meant to go just travel through history and teach history.
I'd like to add a bit of a citation on that because the BBC decided halfway through the very first season with William Hartnell that this was not going to work, which is why they added the Daleks almost straight away.
Yeah.
Because they knew that it wasn't going to work as an educational show, so they steered it away from that very quickly. You only see really heavily sort of educational ones, like the Marco Polo episode in the very first season. So
I'm not saying educate you as in like, hey, you're going to learn about science, but I mean like philosophically asking questions, like some of the episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right to an extent, but I don't think that was ever really its sort of primary, secondary, or even tertiary intent. I think they maybe shoehorned that stuff in there where possible or where it fit, but it was pretty much always designed to just be a fun show for kids, which it works really well as. I
feel like the reboot first originally started to try to appeal to an older audience, but that was only the first season. I feel like the Eccleston episode.
Sure,
I feel that kind of appealed to older audiences.
Again, aimed at older audiences, and now it's aimed at kids. I wouldn't say that it was always aimed at kids.
Yeah, I think they've gone back and forth.
It was always designed as something to appeal to kids. I mean, they might have varied the amount of interest, for the members of the adult audience that were watching it with the kids. Yeah. But I don't think it's ever been anything other than a kids show, and I'm all right with that. I don't mind it being a kids show.
No, I don't mind it.
I think it needs to be more grown up.
More what?
Grown up.
Yeah, but we're grown ups, so we would say that. I agree with you.
I think it needs to like grow up with me, like mature as we mature, like the original fans of the show.
Yeah, but that would go against what the actual point of having the show for the BBC anyway is. So.
I mean, if you wanted to grow,
don't get me wrong, I hear what you're saying, and that was what Torchwood, for instance, was an attempt at.
Yeah. Oh, that was terrible.
Yes, it was terrible.
I liked when it first started. I liked the first season, and then it just went completely horribly downhill after the first season.
It was just all about the gay kissing, and I couldn't get behind it.
Yeah. That's why it completely just dropped after that.
Yeah.
But you have to realize if you say that you wanted to grow with the audience and age with the audience, that would mean there would be marketing towards like 80-year-olds by now, you know.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe
but-
just not downgrade to age 12 so fast. Maybe if it eased us.
I think the problem is like you've just got older watching a kids program.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
And
So
you're
you're saying
more-
I just don't like Doctor Who anymore.
Yeah, it could be.
basically,
It
yeah.
could be. Like I said, there was a big drop in like American viewership after Peter Capaldi. Well, when we got to Peter Capaldi's run, and it's like, yeah, those people might have grown up and just not.
Maybe.
It's been.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I watch an old Transformers cartoons or something like that. I have to put my brain into sort of a child's mindset because these things are not for adults. I enjoy them. I enjoy the fuck out of them, but I don't enjoy them on the same level as so like an 18 rated sort of sci-fi horror film or something like that, like Alien.
You have to try to realize that like how much of that is nostalgia and how much of that is you actually
Probably.
enjoying it. You know, like
I watched Trigun the other day.
what you watched? What
Trigun? Do you remember it from the
Dragon?
90s?
I have no idea. what that is.
Trigun, like
Oh,
TR.
Trigun, yeah, with the huge titties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like so PG. Watching it now. It's like,
Well, back
I used to
yeah.
watch it. So
you know
cool.
how I feel about
Yeah,
anime.
you were younger when that came out. For me, I was already older when that came out, and I did not enjoy that show. I remember a lot of people talking about it and being like, "Oh, you gotta watch it." And then I watched it, and I was like, it's not that enjoyable.
That was
I
like
don't think I've ever
5.
met an anime thing that I did enjoy, to be honest.
No, I watched one recently that was just.
It's just not. I don't like that kind of animation. It's not for me.
Maybe if you watch
You don't even like Studio
Yeah,
Ghibli.
yeah, people always say maybe if you watch, but whenever I haven't.
Yeah.
I just
But you've
don't
never
like it.
seen a Studio Ghibli movie, like ever.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, Chrissy likes
They-
those.
They put them on like Sunday TV. It's not like
I don't
in
watch
England as
TV.
well.
Their Studio Ghibli's like the Disney of Japan, basically. They make movies.
I've got no interest whatsoever in Japanese animation past Transformers.
And the hentai that Laika sends you.
yeah, well, obviously, yeah. The hentai that Laika sends is particularly interesting, but apart from that,
Yeah.
I mean, if I can't masturbate to it, I'm not that interested.
But yeah, anything else about Doctor Who? I think
We've covered it all, really.
Yeah, I think we covered it all.
The advertisement
We'll
and their
wait,
campaign.
we'll wait for episode 3 and come back and reconvene.
Yeah. Maybe we'll give it another episode or another 2 episodes, and we'll do it
Yeah,
again.
definitely.
And I'll try and figure out if I'm too mature for it.
Yeah, maybe. Even though you're like half our age, me and Chris's age. But I mean, it is
Yeah, I
a
watch
thing to
old
be said
people
about.
shows.
It is a thing to be said about what got you into Doctor Who, what era you were into, and how long you've been a fan and stuff. Those do weigh into what you feel about
Plus,
the
you've got to
newer stuff.
factor in that women mature faster than men. That's like a medical fact.
Mm.
Yeah, Laika's maturity is about at our level at this point.
But Laika's actually about 65 compared to my maturity level.
I don't know. She's the one sending you tentacle porns. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit of a... You're an enigma, Laika.
Just a freak. Just a weirdo.
Yeah.
Well, I think on that note, we should end this video. So,
Yeah, sure.
See you later, guys.
thank you, everyone. Bye!
Yeah, bye.
Bye.